Yo, what's going on, YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte. Guys, today we're taking a look at your New Jersey Devils going into this season. Now, the Devils, there's a new era in New Jersey, and we've seen a couple of changes over the past couple of years in New Jersey. And we're going to be taking a look at this team because you look at some of the departures they've had over the past couple of years. They've lost a lot of key core guys to the room. I mean, obviously, guys like HOKHOTYUK when he left, that was a while back. Even more recently, guys like Andy Green, Travis Zajac was a captain there. Andy Green, who was also a captain. They all ended up going to the Islanders. Kyle Palmieri leaves. He brought a little bit of a veteran presence into the room as well. So this New Jersey Devils team is a little bit different going into this season, and you're relying a lot on the young guys. And you look at, I loved Jack Hughes's his interviews that he's been having over the at the end of the summer here into the fall, and most recently at rookie camp. He is one confident, he's ready to go. He's like, I could tell his year 3 in the NHL. He knows what he has to do. And I think a lot of that comes from, maybe seeing what his brother Quinn has gone through up in Vancouver. I think he's learned some things that, it's not always going to go your way when you want it to. And I think, Jack has the pure skill. We've seen that. But as he gets a little bit bigger, maybe more time spent in the weight room, which was a lot, there was a lot of discussion about that. He wasn't a bigger guy. He didn't have that man's body yet in the NHL. Again, you're playing with guys 25, 30, 35, even Zdeno Chara, Big Z, 45 years old. You're playing with these older guys. So for Jack Hughes, I definitely think that was a little bit of an adjustment for him in his first year and a half. But again, because of not making the playoffs and just not having the talent around him, that argument's not going to be said going into this year. The Devils have a good group. And you look at, ever since 2015, I went all the way back to the 2015 NHL draft and seeing what they've plucked from each of those drafts that's going to make this team, hopefully, either this year, next year, or in the very near future. Again, once you get to the 2021 draft, it's still unknown what those guys will be. But going back to 2015, the New Jersey Devils had the 6th overall draft pick, and they selected in the first round PAVEL ZACHA. And PAVEL ZACHA from the Sarnia Sting, I believe. He was in the OHL. Really talented, power forward-esque winger. He could play center, which I think the Devils have been, utilize that a little bit at points in Jersey. He's a really talented player. We saw what he did last season with the Devils. Hopefully he starts the season in the top 6. I'm hoping that maybe the depth kind of fills out, so maybe he can play third line and kind of balance the lines out a little bit more. But I really love PAVEL ZACHA, what he brings to this team. They desperately needed last year, and he had a little bit of a slow start. Again, he, one of those guys, a first-round pick, a top 10 draft pick. It took him a little while to get going, but last season, if he could build off of last year, he looks like a legitimate top 6 forward. And the second round of that same 2015 draft, 24th overall, the New Jersey Devils selected their current starting goaltender, Mackenzie Blackwood. Mackenzie Blackwood was the second-round draft pick, a great choice by the Devils, and a guy that you like, man, this is a guy that needs to be in Jersey. Wait a sec. 24th overall, second-round pick, that doesn't sound right. There were 30 NHL teams at that point. I'm not sure what that is, guys, so I apologize for that. I'm not really sure what happened there. But anyway, we're going with it. So now going to the 2016 NHL draft, you've got first-round pick, 12th overall, Mikey McLeod. A lot of Devils fans in the comments mentioned him. They really like what he did last season, so we'll see if he gets back into the lineup this year. You also have a 6th-round draft pick, 162nd overall, JESPER BRATT. A guy that we really haven't talked much about, when he was drafted, or really up until the last 2 or 3 years. He's really come onto the scene since he was drafted. Again, a steal, a 6th-round draft pick. And one of the few later-round draft picks that we'll talk about. There's one other big one, specifically from last season we'll get to. But JESPER BRATT, again, he looks more like a middle 6 guy than a top 6 guy, which the Devils, I think, were hoping for. But he's still going to be a great player in that lineup. Now, moving up to the 2017 NHL draft, you have one of your first overall picks, 2017 first overall pick in the first round. Your captain now, Nico HISCHIER. Nico HISCHIER is the driving force of this Devils team. there was a lot of questions at that draft. I remember in 2017, it was the debate between, Brandon Wheat King, 6 foot something, 200-pound monster, Nolan Patrick, or would you go with Nico HISCHIER, the Swiss boy? And they ended up going with Nico HISCHIER, and it's one of those things that it just worked out really well. And I think, the injury stuff with Patrick, it ended up being a great decision by the Devils looking back. But at the time, a lot of people were questioning, should they have gone with Nolan Patrick? So good move there by the Devils, and he's looking like a Selke Trophy winner in the next couple years. Once HISCHIER, again, he had a rough season last year with injuries. Give him a full season as captain. I really like what he could do with New Jersey. So, second round pick in that same draft, 36th overall, is Jesper BOQVIST, and his brother Adam BOQVIST, now playing with the Columbus Blue Jackets. A big piece of that Seth Jones trade. Jesper stays in New Jersey, and they're hoping he could fill out the bottom 6. He's going to be fighting it out for one of those spots there. He may find himself in Binghamton with the Devils at the beginning of the year, but he may make the lineup out of camp. So that is something to keep an eye on there with Jesper BOQVIST. Now you also have a third-round pick here, 81st overall, Riley Walsh, a defenseman that seems like he could push for a spot on that defense in the top 6. The Devils are still lacking a little bit. I know they added some big defensemen there, like Dougie Hamilton and obviously Ty Smith getting better. But don't be surprised. Watch out for a guy like Riley Walsh. Again, another guy like BOQVIST. He may start the season in Binghamton, but could find his way up in New Jersey as the season goes along. Now moving up to the 2018 NHL draft, you have in the first round, 17th overall. That's one of the later first round picks the Devils had. That's Ty Smith, a really talented defenseman, offensive-minded defenseman, probably a top 4 defenseman, maybe a top 2 pairing defenseman, but a safe bet is a good 1 through 4 defenseman on your blue line. Ty Smith, a lot of potential. We saw that from him last year. Seems like a good character in the locker room. He gels really well there in New Jersey. I'm really interested to see what Ty Smith does this season. Again, sophomore slump could be in there, but I'm not really expecting that from Smith. I'm expecting him to continue to move forward. And maybe this is the guy that Will Butcher should have become, is a guy like Ty Smith. And I think that's really what the Devils are hoping for Smith. 5th round pick, 141st overall. So kind of like Jesper Bratt here, Yegor Sharangovich. What a season he had in the beginning of last year here in 2021. He had a great season with the Devils, playing top 6 minutes alongside guys like Hughes and HISCHIER at points. Sharangovich is a really talented guy. We saw that on full display last year. The question is, can he follow that up? And he was actually a finalist, in the conversation to be a finalist for the Calder Trophy, which is Rookie of the Year. So Sharangovich definitely made a name for himself. We'll see if he could build off of that this year. Now we move into the 2019 NHL Draft, and the Devils moved up again. I have my conspiracy theories with them winning 2 first overall picks in 3 years. Talk about the Rangers with that one as well. Jack Hughes, 1st overall. So in 2 of 3 drafts, in 3 consecutive drafts, you draft your captain, Nico HISCHIER, 1st overall. You draft Ty Smith, a offensive-minded defenseman, top 4 defenseman, and you also draft Jack Hughes. So talk about a solid 1-2 punch. You have Jack Hughes and Nico HISCHIER, a huge way to build that group. Now there were some questions. Would they draft Jack Hughes, the center, at 1st overall? They already had Nico HISCHIER. They answered that quickly. They were going with Jack Hughes, and they did that in the draft. Now, they also had a pretty solid 2nd round pick, 61st overall. Now, if I'm not mistaken, they may have traded NIKITA OKHOTYUK already. But I know he was a part of the plans for the New Jersey Devils. Let me know in the comments down below. Was he a part of that deal with the Arizona Coyotes, or is he still in New Jersey? Let me know down below. So, now we get to 2020. We're getting to a draft where the Devils are already starting to, they've got the Hugheses, they got the HISCHIERs, they got the Ty Smiths coming in, but they're still not there yet. They're missing the playoffs, a bottom 10 team in the league. So they draft 7th overall, and they take a pretty solid guy who's been playing in the SHL for a couple years. They take Alexander HOLTZ, a winger who had been playing in the SHL. I believe he played in Djurgården, which is a very, very good high-level team in Europe. So Alexander HOLTZ, expecting him to maybe jump into the lineup for the Devils this year. But if he doesn't, expect him definitely to be getting top 6 minutes with the Binghamton Devils. So we'll see. We'll wait and see how he does in rookie camp. That's really the situation there. But again, for a Devils team that needs wingers, I wouldn't be surprised if Alexander Holtz, again, a 2020 draft pick, gets into the lineup here in 2021. Also in that same first round of the 2020 draft, 18th overall, they selected another winger, taking Dawson Mercer, who was up in the OHL, a guy that I've really liked. I think he played with the Ottawa 67s, if I'm not mistaken, with Marco Rossi. So, again, a good pedigree there, playing with some talent in the OHL. So we'll see what happens with a guy like Dawson Mercer. So, again, you pick up 2 wingers there. And then in the third round, you select with the 84th overall selection. A lot of people like what they've seen from this goaltender. And, I mean, we've talked to Ken Danico, and we've heard Ken Danico, a big Devils guy, obviously has his number retired there in Jersey. They really like this goaltender, Nico DAWS. A lot of expectations for Nico coming into the NHL. Now, obviously, you have Mackenzie Blackwood as your guy. But, you know, not only Ken Danico, but if you talk to management in New Jersey, they really have high expectations for a guy like Nico DAWS to potentially become the next starter in New Jersey. So that could be a cornerstone draft pick for the Devils in maybe a year or two. Again, we know goaltenders develop a little bit longer. It takes them longer to develop. That's why they usually get drafted in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round. Obviously, we've seen that change with generational talent with guys like Wallstedt and Kosa in this year's draft. But Nico DAWS, keep an eye on his name in New Jersey. Now, moving up to this year's draft in 2021. And the Devils did pretty good. Once again, another top 4 selection, the 4th overall pick. They select Luke Hughes, the brother of Jack Hughes. That's right. So he'll be playing at the University of Michigan this year with that super, super talented team. Talk about winning pedigree. He will have a chance to win something there in Michigan with the Wolverines in the Big Ten. They should win that. I don't know how good Wisconsin looks this year, but it's going to be Michigan's team to lose. I mean, you look at some of the guys on that team. They have what's that guy? Brisson. They also have obviously guys like Owen Power, Matty Beniers, Luke Hughes. I mean, Kent Johnson. You could go on and on with how many good, talented players are there at Michigan. So add Luke Hughes to that mix. And another first-round pick in 2021, 29th overall, Chase Stillman. That was the New York Islanders draft pick they got for Travis Zajac and Kyle Palmieri in the draft in the trade deadline here in 2021. So that is your group for the Devils. I mean, you look at some of the guys they have been drafting. Nico Hischier and Jack Hughes, your center core right there. You've got some goaltenders there in Blackwood and DAWS, which you're hoping are the future of your team in between the pipes. You also got some defensemen there. I mean, you got guys like Riley Walsh, Ty Smith, NIKITA, OKHOTYUK. This team looks good. I'm really excited to see what the Devils look like. Now, obviously, the biggest question for the Devils this year is how are they going to do in that division? Because you talk, I mean, even you saw PK Subban's interview here in training camp, and it's one of those things where, you know, are they going to be able to win in that division? It's going to be difficult because you look at teams that are, I mean, again, you could call it a lock here in you know, September, October, but at the end of the day, it's really what happens in April. But, you know, pretty solid teams, you know, the Islanders, the Hurricanes. We've seen teams like the Penguins and the Capitals. They've been in the mix. I'm not even talking about teams like the Flyers and the Rangers, who have gotten better this year. So the question is, have the Devils done enough to still compete and maybe make the playoffs in that very, very competitive Metropolitan Division? Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL and more videos just like this one, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and an even bigger subscribe down below. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you again next time.